Huw Evans dwi. I'm from the Education Department at Conwy, and my role is as a Health and Wellbeing Development Officer. So I've been working in the department for a number of years now, and one of the programmes that's been led by my colleague who's just retired, near Williams, has been the KiVa project in Conwy. So I'm feeling a little bit of a fraud to be here today because, yes, I've been involved in it, but it's been really Nia who's been really driving this in Conwy. So I'm filling her shoes a little bit today. So that's my background, but it's a programme that we've been investing in quite a bit in Conwy. How it's structured in Conwy is we've got a health and wellbeing team, in a way, a small team of us, that's funded through the Healthy Schools programme, or what it used to be called the Healthy Schools programme. Now, every authority in Wales adopts that programme in slightly different ways. So in some counties, they're based in public health. Some counties, like in Conwy, we're based in the Education Department. But we're all there to support schools, and support schools mainly with the implementation of the new curriculum as well. There will be changes to this programme the next 12 months. So we'll be moving slowly now from healthy schools to health promoting schools. So you guys working in schools, you will see the changes in the way we support, and I'll explain a bit about that in a while. But how we see our work in Conwy is we are there to support schools. So we are there to support them to develop an education environment where teachers are ready to teach and pupils are ready to learn. Teachers and pupils can then maximise their potential, and then pupils become the aims and objectives of the new curriculum of Wales. And we are there to kind of underpin and make sure that schools have the things they need to be able to do that. And over the last number of years, as you well know, health and well-being within the sector has been a high priority, both with teachers and with pupils. And that's where we see ourselves, and our role within the authority is to ensure that we can build networks, build support for teachers and pupils to access the right support, so they can go into schools and they can learn, they can perform to their full potential. Now, one element of our work is supporting schools with the whole school approach framework document. Now, this is a statutory document provided by Welsh Government, and this is one part of the change that's going to happen to healthy schools. So this is going to be part of the new way we are going to be working. So we're transitioning into this health promoting schools model, where this is going to get embedded with the old Healthy Schools programme to develop the new approach. But with this, we've been able to access some funding to support our schools, and that's where our funding to support schools in Conwy has come from. Working with Welsh Government to identify need and to help schools embed this framework, we've been investing in the KiVa project. Core to a lot of the work we're doing in Conwy is that our churn data, and now we are evidence-based. And just before lunch, there was conversation around that bridge between academia and education. And in a way, that's a bit of my role, is to find good practice that's evidence-based and then transition that and make that relevant to the education, to our schools, so they know, okay, we know that this is out there, and we know it's safe, we know it's effective, we know it's good value for money, good investment, and that's part of our role within this network. Let's call it still Healthy Schools for the time being, but our role there is really to help schools to identify best practice and to kind of build that bridge between academia and practice. And one of the key data sets we use is the churn data. So every 2 years, we are very lucky in Wales, so this is one of the biggest surveys in the world, really, of young people about their own health and well-being. And all our secondary schools in Conwy engage in this survey. And if you want to have a look at the data on the regional, county or the national level, type into Google churn dashboard and you'll come over to this site, click on the dashboard and you'll come to the dashboard that's been developed by Public Health in partnership with Decipher in Cardiff University, where you can click in and get the latest information and data and patterns and trends on a whole range of different topics that's covered by the survey. Last year's survey was held in October, November time, and the data will be published after Easter. So the next roll of data will be published just after Easter, but I don't think it's going to come on the dashboard until the summer. So schools get a school level report. We as a local authority get a local authority report, and then the LA, the region and the national data is presented on the dashboard, where the school's data, individual data, is private for the schools, but the school gets that data for them to analyse and to understand and contextualise the lives of the young people within their school. Now, with the Shern, we've invested and we've supported our secondary schools mainly to get involved with this, but they are rolling out a primary version as well. And moving forward, the aim is for Shern to happen alternative years, secondary, primary, to get a full snapshot of the life and experiences of young people throughout Wales, so that can inform policy. But we have our own primary health and wellbeing survey, as it happens in Conwy as well. So we're a little bit in that conversation at the moment, which one do we kind of invest in, how do we fit that in, but I'll touch upon that in a while. Now, one of the questions, or there's a number of questions around bullying on that survey, and one is being bullied. And that, in our former room in Conwy, we bring our secondary schools together as our Shern leads. And one is in the room today, Jason Turner from Scotland and Conwy. So we bring them together and we have that conversation about the data. What does the data tell us? Is that a true reflection of what you see, what you feel, what you hear within your schools? An example like in Dyffryn Conwy, they've got a fantastic school council, so they can actually build upon that data and say, okay, this is what the data tells us, but is that a true reflection? What does that feel like? Does that kind of mirror what we see and feel on the ground? And one concern we had back in 2019 was that bullying, or pupils reporting they've been bullied in the past couple of months, was significantly higher in the data set than the rest of Wales. And in a way, that was the justification for NIA at the time to be able to allocate funding from Welsh Government to KiVa to see if we can implement this and see what change will happen within our secondary schools. Now, over that kind of period of time, from 2019 to 2021, we saw a reduction in bullying within Wales, but we also saw that trend in Conwy as well. And what was nice for us, looking at that data at that level, was it's gone down from significantly high in the Wales to basically the average. So we kind of went down from being above, having that concern, to kind of get into that average, being level with the trend right across Wales. Now, just before Christmas, we had the nesting inspection in the authority. And we were kind of demonstrating this as an example of the impact the KiVa programme is having so far. Being totally honest, going, this is where we're at. We are looking forward to see how that impact is going to be in the future. And they were challenging, going, that's not a huge reduction. And then we kind of investigated the school in Conwy, a school that invested time and effort into implementing the programme. And what we saw was that it has a huge impact in the school in Conwy. Jason is over there, and I'm sure I'll persuade him later to answer any questions. But we've seen that impact there. And the message for us as authority is, it works, but you have to put in effort in. You have to put that time and resources within the schools to make it impactful. It's all good for a school to sign up for something. Any school can do that. But what will they do with it afterwards is the key that we want to see, and that's the kind of investments going forward. And I was talking to Jason over lunch, and he'll be the first one to admit there's always improvements. There's always areas where you get frustrated going, we've done our best here, but it's still not quite fitting in, or there's more pupils now talking about bullying, and it's kind of brought it more to the surface, and people are more aware of the issue, where in the past it might have been a hidden problem, and people weren't as aware of it. So that in itself brings that concerns. But we know that it works. We've seen that with investment, with support, that KiVa can have an impact. Like I mentioned, we do have a number of primary schools in Conwy as well, on different stages on their development and their pathway with KiVa. And again, it's about talking with those schools and showing the ones who really engage. The pattern is the ones who really engage, see the value in it, get the most out of it. And that would be my kind of key message there. With our primary sector, I've touched quickly there on our health wellbeing questionnaire, our survey for our primary sector. And again, we've got questions there around behaviour in school, in addition to things around school life, respect, my well-being, learning, home life, and so on. But the behaviour one is the most kind of obvious one for us here. And that's one area we are proud of, in that schools, pupils in our schools, understand what bullying means. And that is huge for us. Okay? Let's start off with, and there's a few indicators there about how schools respond, how does adults respond to the data, to instances of bullying. But we've got two concerns there, and that is always our development. We don't stop and say, oh, we've got this sorted, that's the job done, we can move on to the next thing. Glaring there for us is the top two. And when we look at it across the kind of life course in primary schools from year 2 to year 6, we can see that reduction in pupils reporting that pupils behave well in lessons and behave well during playtime. And that again is where we believe we can use KiVa more and more smartly moving forward to get more of our primary schools to mirror and buy into that culture. Because like you was touched upon before lunch, where we would like to get to in the end is that culture in our children is embedded, so when they get to the secondary schools, they understand it already. It's not a new concept, it's not a new approach, it's not a new definition, it's not a new thing for them. And that is where we see our next stage of development, is ensuring that transition from the primary to the secondary. Funding, like I mentioned before, is a key thing for us with this. Anybody who works in a primary or secondary school say that funding is tight at this point in time. And using this data, we can justify investing in different interventions that are evidence-based. And again, it's fantastic to hear that the work that's happening on providing that evidence base for us as a local authority is brilliant, because when we can access funding and we can showcase, yes, this comes from a robust data set, it's working, we've got the additional experience in a way, and what the pupils tell us, or the teachers tell us, to provide a flavour around it. But having this research happening in Bangor University around this is fabulous. It's absolutely fantastic. Because if we want to make a difference, and if we want to kind of bridge that academia to education, ensuring that we're investing in the right things with the limited funding that's available, it is key. But I won't kind of again pretend that it's a one and done, because what we are seeing at the moment is that turnover of staff in secondary schools and primary schools, and that is the conversation we are having at the moment, is where is best for us to invest the funding? Is it to best invest the funding in schools where we're committed to make it really better and better and better and get that depth and really get it into that culture of the school, or get as many schools as possible to be part of the project? And that is always a kind of balancing act for us, where's best to invest that funding. So it's a development. We've seen the impact to date, and we feel that it mirrors the effort people put into it. I think I mentioned at the start that Nia Williams should have been here today, and she's done a lot of work to engage with this in our primary schools and our secondary schools. But it's people like Jason Turner over there who do the hard work, who really take these opportunities, tell us what they require, tell us what we need. We do the easy bit. We get the funding in. We ensure that we build those partnerships, build those links with the KiVa team and so on, so they can enable schools to access this opportunity. And then we take all the credit. No, we don't. But it's really down to them and the fantastic work within the school. And it's really the time and effort they put in. The more you put in, like anything else in your life, the more you get out. And I think we've seen that with the KiVa programme to date in Conwy. So that's me. I won't ask any questions, but please no.